Have you guys ever been completely led on? Since you're one of my viewers, I already know you're an absolute unit, so probably not. But you know what? Use your imagination. Picture someone telling you they're interested, constantly calling you on FaceTime, asking what you up to, what you doing. But then you realize this entire time it was actually a scammer who just stole your social security number and stole $10,000 from your accounts.
Do you listen to me?
Hey, I'm gonna take $100. I'm taking $100 away from you. I told you not to use that language around me. Okay?
Do not read in! Do not read in!
But now swap that call center scammer with the $3.5 trillion company. Well, that's exactly what happened to a software engineer named Philip. Microsoft engineers directly reached out to him, telling him how great his project was and how they really want to contribute. But instead of directly contributing anything, they forked his project and claimed it as their own. I know, shocking. A multi-trillion-dollar tech company stealing someone's work. Who could have seen this coming? Well, let's take a look at how this story unfolded and what happened at the end. Just like all great software projects, this one started with a problem. During a Black Friday sale, one of Philip's customers got hit with insane levels of traffic. And Philip's job was to maintain their Kubernetes cluster to make sure it scales up for this load. However, he started to see a problem. Even though Kubernetes was trying to scale up the cluster, the image registry wasn't able to keep up, meaning latency and downtime for customers during their big Black Friday sale. Now, if you're not familiar with Kubernetes, you might not know what just happened or how annoying this problem really is. It's a tool that allows you to scale and manage thousands of containers. If you're not familiar with containers, you might have to deep dive on that yourself, but it's not relevant for this video. Now, when Kubernetes tries to scale up, it pulls images, as they're called, from this image repository, and that's where the core issue was. This place where Kubernetes was pulling from was going down and could not handle the load. After going through that harrowing experience, Philip had an idea. Instead of a container reaching out to the centralized image registry, it could instead get the image from the local machine or virtual machine it's running on. So that's how his product Spiegel came to be. Spiegel allows machines or virtual machines, or nodes as they're called in Kubernetes, to cache images locally for any container that spins up on them. And if one node doesn't have an image, it can grab it from another node in the cluster, efficiently and cheaply solving the scaling issues Philip was facing before. Now I hear you saying that Philip is a genius, and this solution is excellent. Well, Microsoft agrees with you too. Microsoft directly reaches out to Philip to talk about Spiegel because they were really impressed with his idea. From Philip's perspective, the meeting went well. Microsoft was glazing Spiegel and it seemed like a partnership was bound to form. Philip went so far as to help a Microsoft engineer set up Spiegel running locally and answer any architectural questions they had. He was really going above and beyond for Microsoft in hopes that they contribute back to the project. However, after helping them, Microsoft stopped replying. Complete silence. Philip just got ghosted, and we all know how that feels. But Philip, like every man should do, just moved on, assumed no bad intent, and kind of just forgot about that whole situation. That was until he went to KubeCon Paris. He was walking around the convention, and a topic that piqued his interest showed up. And that topic was a $15 Chipotle burrito, and the sponsor of this video, me. Not Chipotle, it's actually just me. YouTube gave me a $15 Chipotle gift card from the partner program, and I figured, you know what, that's our burrito. So I'm just gonna give it away to you guys. You don't have to like the video. Honestly, I don't even think you have to be subscribed. I put a post in my community section that says, does anyone want a free $15 Chipotle code I got from YouTube? All you have to do is reply to that, and I'm going to screenshot the code and give it to whoever is first. And honestly, I'm just gonna put it in a comment reply, so whoever snatches it up first will get it, because if I'm eating good, so are my day ones. But let's get back to the video. The topic was about speeding up image distribution with peer-to-peer sharing, and that's exactly what Spiegel helps do. During the conversation, Spiegel was brought up, but a new solution was also brought up called Peered. It's also a peer-to-peer image distribution network that is in direct competition with Spiegel. The main difference is it's specifically made for Azure, which should set off alarm bells in your head because yes, it was made by Microsoft. and the team that had talked to Philip before. Philip, rightfully so, gets suspicious and takes a look at Peard. And at the bottom, they actually credit Philip and Spiegel with inspiration for Peard. How generous of the team at Microsoft. At first, Philip was enthusiastic, trying to figure out the different approaches Peard took relative to Spiegel, trying to learn more and maybe even improve Spiegel himself. But after digging through the code himself, he realized Peard isn't special at all. Instead, it's a complete fork of Spiegel. For example, take a look at these two code blocks, Spiegel on the left and Peard on the right. You can already tell the cases they're checking for, aka the if statements, are pretty much identical. They're even in the same order, which makes it even more suspicious. The only slight difference is in the logger they configured. I've rarely seen this level of cohesion on teams I've worked on, let alone two separate projects. Now, you still might be unconvinced, so let me zoom in a little bit. In both comment blocks above the function, you can see a line that says, refer to containered registry configuration documentation for more information about required configuration. And in both cases, there's a typo with the word more, spelling it M-O-R. Microsoft tried to avoid contributing so much that they didn't even fix a typo. Now, there's nothing wrong with forking a project. That's fairly common, besides the fact that they could have contributed and probably should have not led Philip on. But they didn't just fork this project, they also changed the license of this project. Spiegel is under an MIT license, but Peard is under Microsoft's custom MIT license. And I know it sounds confusing, and I'm not great with licenses myself, but just know, under Philip's original license, you are allowed to fork and you don't even have to contribute back, but you cannot change the underlying MIT license like Microsoft has done. Now, because of what Microsoft did and because of Peard, Philip has been getting questions about the differences between Spiegel and Peard, which I can see as being really annoying, and it shouldn't even be on him to do that. It should be on Microsoft to explain the difference, but his project is still growing and thriving. I would say even more so than Peard, with more frequent updates, with more stars, and with more community support behind him. However, that's not the end of this story. When Philip published this article, it actually blew up on Hacker News, and a Microsoft engineer responded. Hi Philip, I'm Lachlan from the Cloud Native Ecosystem team at Microsoft. Our team works in the Cloud Native open source community with a goal of being great open source collaborators in these projects and communities, and I'm sorry that this happened.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
They then created a pull request for Peard to revert the copyright back to the original MIT license. But I think the craziest part of the response is their explanation on why they forked Spiegel. They wanted artifact streaming support, and when they spoke to Philip about adding it to Spiegel, he said it was probably out of scope at the time. And if you've ever worked as a software engineer, you know that's code for, I've got a lot of work to do, and I can't get to this right now, but maybe you can help a little bit. So I don't see why Microsoft couldn't have contributed back to Spiegel instead of trying to create a competitor in Peard. And everyone in the Hacker News article called out Microsoft on their BS. One of my favorite responses being, now that you got caught, you are fixing it and writing fancy PR fluff. An org the size of Microsoft should have clear policies and processes how to handle source forks like this. Unless we assume bad faith here, this is a pretty bad look. And that guy is 100% right. If you've ever worked in an organization this big, you know they 100% have an open source team that you have to run stuff by, and they have processes that you have to follow. And it might be a case of this team just broke that rule and did not follow the processes put in place by Microsoft. Now, I think the main takeaway from all of this is the fact that you should have more typos in your code and more errors. That way you know if someone is ripping you off. That's why my videos are full of errors. That way I know if one of you have stolen one of these masterpieces I've produced. And if you're a megacorp about to rip this video off, make sure to at least like and subscribe, and thanks for watching this video.